Welcome to Behavioral Echoes, where we deep dive into the patterns and behaviors that shape our lives. I'm one of your hosts, Christopher Eady.
And I'm Lisa Oborn. Today we're going to have a candid discussion about something we all tend to forget, especially during the middle of chaos that's life. The fact that life in its beautiful brevity is a one-way trip.
Exactly. Too often, we get caught up in circumstances, in moments that seem all-encompassing at the time, but in hindsight won't matter in the grand scheme. We live like we've got forever. Newsflash, this ride is finite, and the real tragedy is letting the trivialities of life distract us from actually living it.
That's right, Chris. In today's episode, don't let life distract you from living. It's all about realizing the true value of time, our relationships, and why it's critical to stay awake and focused in the present moment.
I want to start by sharing a story about an old friend of mine. He and his brother had a falling out over money. A small sum, really, but it was enough to ignite years of tension. They stopped speaking. Every family event became strained, with people picking sides. Fast forward 5 years. My friend's brother was diagnosed with a terminal illness, and by the time my friend reached out to reconcile, it was too late. His brother passed, and all those years were lost. Imagine that, holding on to an argument while time, which they could have spent together, just dissipated and slipped away. I'm sure you know similar stories like that one, Lisa.
I do, and it's so powerful and such a common scenario. People let their pride and their ego and the need to be right get in the way of the bigger picture of just life itself. It's easy to get stuck in the loops and these arguments. But when we really look at the big picture, we realize what matters. And it's not being right, it's being connected, being stuck in the details. And we all hear that scenario analysis paralysis, and we get so stuck in doing things perfect. Someone I was coaching, they were planning their dream wedding event, got so caught up in the details, the perfect decor, the right photographer, the seating. It just consumed life every single moment. Guess what? The fiance started feeling neglected, was pushed aside because all that mattered was this perfect event. Then it'll be all worth it when the day comes and everybody enjoys themselves.
Let me guess, that didn't quite turn out that way, did it?
Exactly.
Hmm.
On the day of the wedding, everything went as planned, but the joy was missing. The fiance had already grown distant. A few months later, they separated. There was so much focus on the details of the event, forgot about the people in the relationship that was the center of the whole day. The details consumed her, and in the end, she lost the very thing she wanted to celebrate.
You know, these stories remind us of how easily we can get lost in the weeds. But let's shift gears for just a second and talk about how we can avoid these traps and focus on what truly matters. Lisa, what's the first thing people can do to start appreciating life right now in the moment?
One of the things that I really like to focus on that helps is being mindfully present, being in the moment. And that means engaging in right now, whether it's during a conversation, a walk outside, a meal, close all of those tabs, all of those inner voices, and just immerse yourself in what is happening right now. When you live like that, you start to notice the small details in life that make you go, ah, and you're just mesmerized by what happens.
I agree with that. And in that present state, if we tie that with being grateful or having this, expression of gratitude regularly, we can anchor ourselves in this place of appreciation and start like with a daily habit, writing down things that we're grateful for, whether it's one big thing, three small things, and then allow, the day to go about where you're ruminating on just being thankful for those things because it could be something small like the warmth of your coffee or something significant, as big as your health or your family. But if you intentionally focus on what's good, you will shift your mindset from scarcity to abundance, from feeling badly to feeling well. And I'm not just talking about physiologically, which it could in fact impact, but certainly psychologically and emotionally.
And I like that one. And you say that. And today I was thinking about grateful because the first thing that happened when I opened up the windows today, it was raining. And that first breath of the smell of rain just made my morning. And the other thing I want to talk about a bit is prioritizing relationships over circumstances. We tend to forget that the people are more important than the circumstances we're dealing with. We've all had that situation. We put work over relationships. We put different situations, and even what I share, an event over relationship. And when a stressful situation arises, it's really looking at it. Will this matter in 5 years? Will this even matter next week? Most of the time, what you're going to realize is no. What will matter are the relationships you've nurtured or neglected. They let you guide the decisions and the actions that you take.
Seems like life has a way of distracting us, doesn't it? I think if we take anything from just those couple of things that we can engage with to really stay rooted in the present moment, and it doesn't mean that it's, always going to be great, but there's so much power in staying rooted in the present moment and using some of those techniques to stay rooted. I would say that the takeaway would be avoid letting the noise pull you away from what's important. This is a one-way journey between the start and the finish. I hope that we really, at some point go, gosh, what am I doing here? How do I make this count? And then actually act on that.
I like that. So, right now, just take a deep breath. Look around at the people, at the environment around you, and appreciate it. Appreciate what you have right now. You were just able to take a deep breath. You're breathing. It's not getting stuck in the arguments or in the details. It's about those moments that just make you realize how wonderful life is and the experience that we share.
Remember, folks, this is probably one of the shortest podcasts that we've done. Your time is valuable. What you do with your time, how you spend your time, who you spend your time with. And probably the most important thing as we close here is understand that you're responsible for what you get out of life. You're also responsible for how you manage your thoughts. And perhaps the greatest secret is that we become what we think about. Until next time, I'm Christopher Eady.
And I'm Lisa Oborn, and thank you for joining us once again on Behavioral Echoes.
Remember, do not let life distract you from living. Our best to your health.